Hi, I'm Grandma, and my granddaughter Grace and I have decided to do a challenge where we don't have enough money to go to the grocery store, so we're going to cook whatever we can find in the pantry, the fridge, or the freezer. And so tonight, if you zoom in, Grace, we have found some ingredients in our freezer and our pantry. We have ground beef, green peppers, mushrooms, a carrot, an onion, some pasta, some Worcestershire sauce, and a little bit of beef onion soup mix. So we are going to make homemade hamburger helper tonight. And if you stay with us, we'll show you how it's done.
Hi, I'm Grace, and me and my grandma are going to do the challenge that she just told you about. And what we are going to do is figure out how it's done. You ready? Let's go.
Okay, so let's dice up some onions. And we just want about 1/4 of an inch dice. So here's our onions, and we'll turn that and dice. All right, so we have diced onions. And next up, we're going to do the same thing with our green peppers. So we have green peppers that are already sliced, and we just need to dice them into small pieces, right? And we have, those can go with our onions. So we want to do green peppers, onions, and eventually we're going to also add in some carrots and mushrooms. And this is all going to go in with the ground beef. So in a moment, you're going to see us starting to cook up the ground beef. All right, so there's our carrots, there's our mushroom, our onions and green peppers. For the mushrooms, we're going to cut the stems off, and we can get rid of those and just keep the mushroom part. We're using baby Bella mushrooms today, but you can use whatever kind of mushrooms you have. And you know what? If you don't have mushrooms, you actually don't need to use them. This is an optional ingredient. So it just, for me, it makes it taste better, but if you don't want to use mushrooms, don't use mushrooms. So we've cut the stems off, we've sliced the caps in half, and we're just slicing them up into a nice size that will cook up with the rest of the ingredients. And I'm not using a lot. So I've used 3 mushrooms today, and that's enough. And then we're going to use 1 carrot. I've already peeled the carrot and I cut it in half. So what we're going to do with the carrot is just very carefully cut it in half and cut it in quarters, because you don't really, in this dish, want it very big at all. So we're just going to dice it up pretty small. And again, if you don't want to use a carrot, you don't have to. It just adds flavor to the dish. But if we've pulled out whatever veggies we had in the fridge, and we happen to have some green peppers that I froze from the garden last year, we happen to have a fresh onion, we happen to have some fresh mushrooms, and we happen to have some carrots. Now, our garden hasn't started producing yet. So once our garden starts producing, we'll have more different kinds of veggies that we can use. And tomorrow, I think Grace and I are going to try to make roasted radishes, because that's what's growing in the garden right now. But in the meantime, we have onions, mushrooms, carrots, and green peppers. All right, so ground beef in the fry pan. And we're going to brown the ground beef. And we also want to chunk it up so that it's in very small pieces. Now, if you don't have one of these tools, you can also do this with a spoon or a spatula. Just want to get it, all we want to do is break up the ground beef and get it browned. Okay, so our ground beef is cooking and it's broken up into small pieces. And what we're going to do is add some pepper. Good job. And Grace, we're going to add some salt. All right. And then the ground beef looks pretty brown, so if you follow me, what we're going to do is add in all these veggies we cut up. So let's just take the mushrooms, onions, green peppers, whoa, and it's going to take a couple of trips to get all this stuff in the skillet. Right, we've got all these veggies and some salt and pepper. All right, let's get all of that and a little bit more. There we go. And so we have all of the veggies in there and some salt and pepper. And what we want to do is add a little bit of minced garlic. So there's some,
oh, I gotta smell it.
Maybe a teaspoon of minced garlic, which Grace loves the way it smells.
I do.
And we're gonna add some Worcestershire sauce. And that's one of those ingredients that nobody can pronounce, but we're gonna add about a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. And the one thing I forgot to get out of the fridge, Grace, is, oh my gosh, where is it? Here we go. We're going to add about a tablespoon of tomato paste.
Tomato paste? I've never heard of that before.
Well, that makes it taste good. So we just added about a tablespoon. Now we're going to stir this all up and just let it simmer down. All right, so our veggies and everything is simmering together, and it needs just a few minutes to cook. So what we're gonna do is just add a little bit of beef stock and turn it down to low, put the lid on, and let the veggies cook. Okay, so our veggies have simmered down for about 10 minutes in the pot on low heat. And everything is looking really kind of yummy in there. The next step, Grace, if you back up, is to look at what we're going to add in there. So we have one package of Lipton beef onion soup mix, which I can't seem to open, so we're going to get a scissors and dump that in there. Now, we have Lipton beef onion soup mix. We have 2.5 cups of water. Grace, you got that? And to that 2.5 cups of water, we're gonna add a cup of milk just to give it some protein, some flavor. And so we have water and milk that we're gonna add into our beef mixture. Grace, you got that? All right, and then this is the pasta that we're using. And we're gonna add in the pasta, just dump her in there, and stir everything together, and make sure everything's mixed really good. And we're gonna put it on low heat, and we're gonna put the cover on, and we're gonna let that simmer for at least 15 to 20 minutes so the pasta has time to cook. And we will be back with you in about 20 minutes. All right, we're stirring our pasta, veggie, and meat mixture. And the pasta does not quite look done yet. We can taste it, but I'm sure it'll still be toothsome. So what I'm thinking at this point is maybe we let it simmer a few minutes more And we just add some, hang on, Grace. Let's just add some broth to it to make it look, to make the pasta simmer up a little bit more. And once the pasta is soft, we can serve it. Okay, after simmering for a few more minutes with some additional broth, the pasta appears to be done. So what we're going to do now is serve. And so we're gonna grab a bowl and put some pasta in the bowl. Now, I like to finish the pasta with a little bit of cheese. Excuse me, Grace, let me set this down. So I would say a little bit of salt. Done. A little bit of pepper. Done. And then I personally like a little bit of cheese. Now, this is all the cheese we had in our refrigerator today. We had mozzarella, Parmesan, and Colby Jack. Now, Colby Jack, probably not so much. I would prefer mozzarella, but Grace wants Parmesan. So, what we're gonna do is take a little bit of Parmesan and sprinkle it on there, and then boom, dinner is served. Off we go to eat dinner. Thank you, everyone. Dinner is served. And if you come back tomorrow, we're going to do roasted radishes.